Good afternoon, everybody. It's Thursday again. We love it. How are we doing? Hi, Dave.
Hey, Jamie. Good to see
Hey,
you.
Dave. Great to see you. I actually saw you at like 5 o'clock this morning in a very weary-eyed, hour-long
We didn't
meeting that we
see
had.
each other. We listened to each other.
We
But
listened to
yes.
each other. Yeah, it's what we do. We work hard around here, but it's a fun time. It's a fun time, and this is one of the highlights of the week, and we get to kind of get together and bring on a very cool guest and have a good time talking about banjos. And we got some really cool guests coming up over the next few weeks, and actually months. We're actually looking out into April right now, so we've got some new guests and some repeat guests bringing all their wisdom and knowledge. But today we have a first-time guest to the show. It's none other than Mr. Victor Furtado. Now, most of you are probably here because you know of him, or maybe you're just curious, but Victor is an incredible clawhammer player. He has a really deep knowledge and respect of the old-time tradition, but he really does bring a lot of new techniques and a lot of twists to this kind of modern acoustic space. It's very exciting to watch, just kind of watching him in soundcheck just a second ago in our green room area. And it's really cool. I'm very excited to listen to him and see what he can do. He's currently a junior, we just established, at Berklee College of Music in Boston. Has won numerous awards for his work, including the 2019 Steve Martin Prize for Banjo. And we are really excited to feature him today. Please welcome Mr. Victor Furtado. There he
Thank
is.
you.
Hey, Victor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. You are in your dorm room, I think, right?
I'm in my house in
In your
Boston.
house? Very
Yes,
cool.
I graduated from the dorm room.
Oh, very good.
Upgraded,
Congratulations.
I
It's a big step up. We like it.
should say.
Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for doing this. We're really excited to have you. And
Thank you for inviting me. I'm stoked to be on here, and I don't think I can see who's on yet or how many people, but hello.
that's a good amount. We got about somewhere in the realm of about 50 or so. So they're all
All
tuning
right.
in. We are at the later time today because I know you had class today, so we started a little later than normal, but we had to make it so you could be on. We wanted to make it work. So we'll see how long the guys overseas stay up because we do get a lot of guys in the UK especially tuning in.
Oh
So
man,
it's getting late over there now.
I was actually wondering if you were in the UK because I saw the flag in the back. I was like, oh no. I hope
See?
I'm not keeping you up, man.
No, I'm in San Diego. It's 4 o'clock here. It's later where Dave is right now, but we definitely do have so Julie and Alan and all the guys who check in normally. Hi guys, they're in the UK,
Yeah.
so it's got to be what is that?
It's midnight, I'm
It's getting up to
thinking,
midnight.
in the UK.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's get to some music. Let's give them a little song before they have to go to sleep. So, you want to kick off with a little tune for us?
Yeah, I'll kick off with a little tune.
All right, what do you got?
I'm going to play an original tune called Hide and Seek, which was named by Dory Freeman's daughter. And Dory Freeman is an amazing songwriter that I get to play with. And she just recently put out an album that I'm on a little bit of.
Okay.
Anyway, we were playing Hide and Seek. I couldn't come up with a name, so she just said, how about Hide and Seeks?
Awesome.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
There was, how many sections was that? Was that 5 sections, or there even more?
With the mistakes, I think you could probably make it into 5. That's supposed to be 3.
Okay. And the top of the A section, it sounded like a tune, another tune. Was it inspired by something?
What's that?
Am I hearing? The top of the A section sounded like a tune that I knew. I can't place the name of it, but was it inspired by something?
Yeah, definitely some of like Django Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Hamilton de Hollanda.
Right.
I think if you take each of like the fragments, the melodic fragments, it's totally a tune that has been written. Like
But that's the good thing about music. You can break it all apart. You know, there's only 12 notes, so they've all been written, but then you put them all back together in different ways. Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about your history to kind of, for people that aren't that familiar with you. You know, I know you know, grew up in a family of musicians. You know, we've had your sister Gina on the show as well. And so why'd you choose going the clawhammer route instead of the 3-finger route? You know, not to follow, you know, your big sister's footsteps.
That's a good question. The first festival that I went to was Galax Fiddlers Convention, and that had a mix of bluegrass and old time. And like you said, my older sister Gina plays bluegrass style. And I think when my brother Joe was about 17, he started playing old time fiddle because he heard a really awesome old time group at Galax. And then when I was about 8, I went to Clifftop, which is a festival in West Virginia, and that's like 90% old time. And I really like the old time clawhammer sound. I just remember being like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to learn. So I just I got really into it when I was 8, and then 9 I started playing.
Right. What do you think it was in that old time sound that kind of drew you in? Like, now that you know you at the beginning we wouldn't know, but now that you kind of know the musical terminology, and maybe what was it there? Was it the rhythm or just the energy of it?
Yeah, you said it, the rhythm for sure. Kind of the atmosphere or the context of which it is played, and it's just very fun music. And when I explain the difference between bluegrass and old time to people that aren't really familiar, I like to say that old time, old time it's like bluegrass but before the radio.
Right. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's just very fun, and it's kind of trancey, and the sound of it, just kind of the like energy of it just keeps going around and around. And what I just played wasn't really old time, but I started with old time, and I still do the old time right hand technique for the most part.
And did you have a teacher when you were young, or did you just learn from your siblings and whatnot?
I would say the first concrete learning I did was from a instructional DVD called The Murphy Method.
Yep.
And the teacher was Lynn Morris.
And so you learned from the beginning, from the Murphy method to
right.
Murphy method to play by ear more than by tab, right?
Yeah, I actually still don't really do tab, but I'll get into more of that later. But I did the Murphy method, and that explained how to do the basic bum ditty, and then it taught like 6 tunes. So I learned all those tunes, and that gave me my foundation. And then from there, I just been around music so much, and then I started learning tunes by ear and by just watching other people at festivals in a jam circle.
Right. Yeah. And when you're learning a tune by ear, but you didn't like have it all, like how'd you kind of figure it out? What, you just kind of knew, like, it kind of went here, but you didn't. Did you take recordings and slow it and check and transcribe recordings like that? And or did you just keep kind of playing with people and kind of figure out different parts by asking questions and things?
I think there was the tunes that I would learn from the instructional DVD, and I had that note for note because I learned it with the hand positioning and all that. But most of the tunes that I play and know, I kind of it might not be perfect. Like, it's by ear, and it's kind of just an interpretation. And
Sure.
I think that's big in old time. It's like everything is kind of interpretation. Though
Right.
it is definitely fun and cool to do note for note. But it's like normally the fiddle has its own melody, and then the banjo doesn't follow everything precisely.
It's less than like bluegrass banjo where everybody's trying to play exactly note for note what Earl Scruggs did or J.D. Crowe did or something like that.
Yeah, I guess we don't really have somebody like that in the clawhammer world.
Those recordings are very early. The really rustic recordings. If you're listening to the real deal players. Wade Ward.
I think it's impossible because they weren't specific about it, and low quality recording. But I did do a lot of listening to Adam Hurt when I was around that definitely developed my playing to more what it is now with the melodic style. And when I was like 12, I just listened to a few of his albums, like Perspectives was a big one, and I would just listen to it in the car all the time. And then I would figure out what he was doing as best as I could.
Nice.
I was totally obsessed. Like when I was 9, I remember waking up, and the first thing I would do is play the banjo. I was so stoked. And like, I wish I could, I wish I had that energy now. I mean, I'm kind of amazed at my child self. I was like, I'd play like 8 hours a day.
That's awesome. And then you had your siblings to play with too, right? Yeah.
A lot of them were moved out by the time I was more older, like starting.
Are you the youngest or one of the youngest?
Yeah, I'm the youngest out of 9 children.
Okay. All right. So they weren't around all the time to play to jam with, like, all the time?
Not really, no. My older sister, the one right above me, I play with her a lot. She plays bass and guitar mostly, so we would go to festivals.
Friends that you would play with at the time?
Yeah, one of my best friends, Andrew Vokes, amazing fiddler. I met him when I was about 11 or something, maybe 10. Actually, probably 10. We went to tons of fiddlers conventions. My dad would take us all around the East Coast, like every summer, just dozens and dozens of festivals, as much as we could. And there was definitely like a good group of kids that were doing the same thing. The band that I play with now, the Wildmans, Eli and Isla Wildman, I met them when I was about 12 at Galax Fiddlers. Okay. And it's just this community. I mean, that's what this music is about.
Yeah. And how important, I stress this to students all the time, people learning, like, that you've got to play with other people. How important do you think that is to especially when you're learning, to just play?
When you're learning, so important.
Yeah.
And I think we're always learning. So
yeah. To listen and play with other people.
Yeah. You can, I mean, I spend a lot of time playing with people and then a lot of time not, just playing by myself and messing around. And I think it's both is good. Depends on what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned your friend Andrew, and that there's that video of y'all playing the Berklee video, Ghost on Hippie Hill, and that recording you put out. What's the name of the recording? Oh, the Psycho Exploding Orangutans.
Wow. Recording. I didn't know you knew this much.
But I do my homework. But it's a great recording, and
It's
and
so
that video
funny.
is bad.
Artists,
So
us musicians, just putting this stuff out, and then people know
people actually
everything.
hear it. So y'all have been playing for a long time though together. You didn't just
Yeah.
meet at Berklee or anything.
No. Me and Andrew, we met at Berlin Fiddlers Convention in Maryland, and I was 10, and he was maybe 9, and my sister maybe 12. And I remember, me and my sister were sitting on a hay bale, and we were like, "Man, it'd be cool to do the band competition, but we just have us two." And then Andrew comes up, and he's probably wearing shorts and green cowboy boots and big afro. And he comes up, and okay, he denies the story, but me and my sister both remember it clearly. So it's 2 against 1. Anyways, he comes up, kneels down in front of us, and he's like, "Do you guys want to be in my band?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, definitely." And we're like, "Who's in your band?" He's like, "You guys and me." And then and that name, we evolved our name. That first name was the Greasy Fish Faces. Don't ask me why. Okay. And we evolved it to the Psycho Exploding Orangutans.
Are y'all still playing together?
Yeah, definitely. Not as frequently, but when you have a band name like that, you can only imagine the type of stuff that goes on.
Yeah. There's definitely you hear like the Rashad Eggleston sort of influences in those that recording, definitely.
Very good. Can you just tell, or had I like said that on some interview from 10 years ago?
No, I know I've met Rashad before. I've played with him once. And
oh, you met him?
Yeah, we played years ago at a Katrina benefit thing. But
yeah,
he's an incredible musician. But
yeah, you guys have to check out Rashad Eggleston. Definitely when I was like 17, especially like, not that I don't love him now, but especially when I was like 17, I was just obsessed. I just like watched every video I could and was just like blown away, and his music and just his like artistry and like how outside of the box he was. I loved it.
Yeah, he's for everybody. He's a cellist. He plays guitar too, but mainly known for his celloist and playing with what's the band out of Boston? But Crooked Still.
Yeah, my banjo teacher actually here, Greg List.
Yeah, Greg is now the banjo chair at Berklee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is it at Berklee in this? What have you learned while being at Berklee, and how have you grown as a musician, do you think?
There's been a lot of more academic challenges, and like kind of like, it's hard to explain really, but not as much playing for me. I do take private lessons. I'm learning tunes with Greg List, which is great. But a lot of, I take liberal arts here. The class I was just in was an aesthetics philosophy class.
Okay.
But we do ear training, which is where I have to listen to stuff. That's one of my favorite classes. Listen to some notes and then be able to write it down accurately on sheet music. That's one of the big takeaways. Harmony. I actually, like I mentioned, that mostly just learned by ear. So when I got here, I didn't know how to read music or write music. I was going to say I didn't know how to read or write, but that might, I could do that. English. And
no problem. You got English down.
Yeah, that's right. I think, anyways.
Yeah, so that's tough going into music school, not having the kind of the basics of Western music theory of of writing, writing notes and things like that.
Yeah.
How did you get over that when thrown into a high level music school?
Yeah, I kind of got, well, actually, just before Berklee, I studied with a teacher in Floyd, Virginia, David Oakes, who taught me a little bit about reading. And I did a little bit there. So I had a little bit, just like a few months of reading the notes and writing key signatures. But yeah, it's definitely challenging. And still, I'm like, if I had learned when I was a kid, like my bandmates did, it would be a lot easier. Because still, I'm like trying to, when it gets way up above the the lines on the sheet music, I'm like, well, E, F, G.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, harmony, it's cool. It's a little bit of a challenge because it's like just to intellectualize it. Because for me, it's just about the feeling and the sound, and music is just about the fun too. So it's kind of hard, honestly, to deal with the just intellectual aspect to it only, and getting, having to like, I don't know, just the grades is like just having to like work for like doing something that used to be only fun pretty much. And I don't know,
Right.
it was pretty much only fun for me. I just it's very specific what I do, and it's not like it's definitely like challenging, but it never felt like work before.
Right.
Obviously
Yeah.
now I'm like playing more gigs, so it's actually more business, a little bit of that.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Has some of the harmony, your knowledge of harmony and advanced like time signatures and things like that been able to seep into your playing, into your compositions that you write or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. Like when I think about it, like I honestly feel like that it's a little bit separate as far as the feeling of playing it and hearing it compared to like analyzing it. And I'm not the type to sit there and be like, oh, well, I can do this because this chord can replace this chord. And like, I don't like map it out like they kind of teach us how to do here at Berklee.
Right.
They're like, oh, well, yeah. So, and I'm sure I have improved like being able to hear these harmonies and being aware of them. But I think like I can't say it. I feel like it has that much directly expanded my kind of writing of tunes or playing. I've learned skills, but it doesn't feel different than how it did before, how I was learning kind of. But I think after, graduating, a lot of things that it was like, it's like a lot coming at me. And I think a lot of Berklee students feel that. It's like, whoa. I think it'll kind of like seep in over time.
Yeah, it's like learning a language. It's like learning anything, it as long as you keep working at it and don't just, it will kind of come over time, but you do need to keep working at it. You can't just like say, oh, I went to music school and then forget everything and just go back to playing old time tunes. But if you keep working at it and don't get too heady about it, it will continually seep in, but you won't notice it unless 10 years later you listen to a recording of yourself or something like that. It's like when you're improving on an instrument, you don't really see the progression, but then you look back and you're like, wow, oh yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, why? I'm like, I could just be not spending this money living in Boston, doing all this work. I could just be learning and like maybe being more creative with more time. But at the same time, it's like I can't really see how I'm progressing as clearly as I might be able to in the future, or as somebody else might be able to. But definitely lots of information and lots of cool stuff that I'm way into. So,
Well, do you want to play another tune for us?
Yeah, I'll play another tune. I think I'm gonna do an old time tune because at first I did the original. I'm gonna do this old time tune, and I'm kind of, I like to improvise a lot. A lot of the time when I play, I just pick up and kind of noodle. but I like to think there's some structure and some content in there where that's worth listening to. So, but I'm gonna try to do that a little bit with this old time tune.
Cool. What's this called?
This tune is called Sadie at the Back Door. Good old time friend of mine, Luke Barnhill, taught this to me. I was probably about 12.
Very cool. Very cool. And is that in standard G tuning, or what was it in a different tuning?
This is double C.
Double C. Yeah.
So E, C, G, C, G.
And is double C to your favorite tuning? Do you have a favorite tuning, or what are some?
I'm most proficient in double C. So
Okay.
For example, all of the harmony stuff I learned, I played in double C.
Oh, really? Wow.
Which is weird, I know.
It's a weird tuning for playing, especially for playing deeper harmony.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just I just do it.
Yeah. I'm the other way. I play G, but if double C, I'll play tunes, but not really knowing the fingerboard.
Yeah.
We have a question from a regular, couple questions from a regular viewer, Joseph Brosk. One, he's asking, is there such a thing as a new old time song? Can one write an old time song today? What characteristics should it have?
I would say absolutely. A lot of people have new old time tunes. There's a lot of great ones. I think old time is alive, and it's always alive. I mean, we have to preserve the old tunes, but we can't just stick with the old tunes. That's my perspective. Because if we just stick with the old tunes, it's not alive. You need to keep it alive. Characteristics, if it sounds like old time, I mean, like, you know, there's not really soloing on old time. And it's a broad variety of melodies. It doesn't have to be major or minor necessarily. Just it's kind of hard to say, but if it sounds like old time, then it probably is.
It's a good way. But I really like. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, it's not necessarily one or the other. I mean, a lot of bluegrass. There's bluegrass that's like old time bluegrass, and then there's old time that's like bluegrass old time, and then there's just a big spectrum. And one time I was in this class here, American Roots Survey, and I play this tune called Betty Baker, and I was doing a little presentation on the history of the banjo, and I was watching some Moroccan band play, which I could probably find the link if anybody wants it. I can't remember right now, but it was like the same tune, and it's this Moroccan band. Totally, and it's not old time, but I mean, same melody, so it's cool. That's what I like about old time and music in general. So.
I really like what you said about keeping it alive, about, you know, writing new tunes and putting new energy in it, because a lot of times in traditional music of all styles, not just old time or bluegrass, it could be traditional jazz or whatever, people get so stuck on making it sound like, you know, this recording from the 20s or whatever, and it kind of dies. The energy kind of dies. So that was a really good way of putting it.
Yeah, there seems to be people that go note for note to the old recordings, and I do that a little bit, but we have to be thankful for those type of people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard balance. It's a balance to pain, which you know, we said at the top of the show, you know, you have a great balance of knowing and respecting the tradition, but also being innovative and adding different rhythmic things, strumming the banjo, you know, adding different finger picking techniques.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was tough past few years with the festivals being canceled. Lucky to have a group of people at home that I was able to jam with, so super grateful for that. But
yeah, are you starting to play? Are gigs coming back online for you? Not online on website, but I'm saying gigs happening again.
yeah, actually. Yeah, we've been having gigs. We're playing gigs up here in the Northeast. We're gonna go to Colorado in the summer. We did that last summer. Went to Colorado, and yeah, there's been some good stuff, and just taking it as we go.
And in Boston, is there still really good like string band scene coming? Especially like there was for a long time, like at the Cantab Lounge and in Cambridge, all those places in Cambridge on Mass.
Did you hear that the Cantab shut down?
I thought I did hear that. Yeah.
It's so sad. But they reopened under a new owner, I think. But I think they're doing the same thing. I haven't been yet.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the people that I was personally close to left. I was me and Eli Wildman. Obviously, we were playing together, and we were rooming with Sam Leslie, and he's a great musician, old time musician, or everything musician. So string band musician.
So what are some, like we mentioned a little bit about your kind of some techniques innovative techniques that you have, and it's can you kind of talk about some of the things that you do that's different than your just very traditional, you know, clawhammer player?
Yeah, I could talk for many hours.
Let's get into
I'm a
it.
nerd. I'm a banjo nerd. Guilty as charged.
You're at the right place then.
Yeah, there's so many things. I mean, not only just techniques, but like just getting into like the strumming pattern. Sometimes I'll just play like one pattern for like hours and it's like meditating or something. So that's something I want to like kind of figure out how I want to share that with people, and just kind of like look into that side topic. Techniques. Yeah, so basically we have the bum diddy. That's the basic pattern. It goes bum diddy, bum diddy. And then there's drop thumbing. And then there's double thumbing. And then that is kind of like the basic springboard for which I discovered many things through the desire to play more complicated things and being like, well, this is the style that I play. I don't want to learn a new style just to play this tune, or whatever, this musical expression. So an example of that would be like a syncopated, basically a syncopation by skipping the downbeat and just doing the thumb. So we have the downbeat here. You just skip that and do it with your thumb instead. And it's on the upbeat. There's one. And then from there you can create polyrhythms. So that's something I like to do a lot. It's like one of the main like discoveries that I don't know when I figured that out. But you can create a lot of patterns that are like in a fiddle, like for example, this classic kind of. So, I mean, you round it out to put it in 4. But that's based on this polyrhythm. And if you don't round it out and you just play that, you're now in like 3 or something that's like 3 or 6. So a little trick I like to do sometimes to kind of like disorient you is to end a tune. Something like that. And it just goes on. There's that tune that I played to start that features this offbeat syncopation done with the drop thumb. So that's taking this thing that we do in old time a lot. You just do the drop thumb. But a lot of that old time is more straight. So I just take the drop thumb and kind of rearrange it. And then I have this, now I'm able to play this kind of like whatever kind of rhythm that is, kind of more Latin sound or Django, Gypsy Jazz.
Yeah, a more syncopated sort of melody. And is the thumb playing? So the thumb is still always playing an upbeat. The thumb's never playing a downbeat there.
Yeah, it's
because even in a standard clawhammer, the thumb is always playing an upbeat. The finger is playing a downbeat.
Yeah, and actually,
you're just erasing that note, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. It's so deep. There's so many things. Like on this thing, there's only one down strike that I'm just now realizing that, because there I'm hammering onto that 5th fret, and then the drop thumb on that note. Yeah. And then I'm doing these upbeat with the finger. That's kind of more dangerous territories.
Do you use sometimes more than one finger?
Yeah, and then there's clucking. which I do like put two fingers together and roll off your fingernail onto the skin.
Right. The clucking I used to be a mystery, but until I started playing more electric guitar, I was like, oh, it's kind of the same as doing a false harmonic on electric guitar. When you turn the pick sideways, and it's really, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I think Richie Stearns, one of my favorite clawhammer players, I was listening to him and I heard like the pitch of the cluck changing. I was like, what the? Because you're hearing like the melody and then like the pitch of this cluck shifting around. And sometimes if you hit it just right, you can get it in tune. It's fun.
And are you using, we have Alan Jones asking, are you sticking with your first or your middle finger mainly?
That's a good question. Both. Usually at a festival, my fingernail on my first finger will get too short until it's painful, and then I'll switch to the middle, and then have that a day, and then maybe my fingernail on the index will have grown out. But
that's what I did too. I wear one nail through and then go to the other like that.
Yeah. Sometimes I just switch too. Like maybe on the first string, I like to use the middle sometimes. So that's like middle, index. So I use both. Answer.
Very good.
I keep giving these long answers.
No, they're fantastic. They're good. They're great. They're great answers. You're giving a lot of great information. We have a question from Carolina Shot saying, "What do you
Carolina.
Think of?"
It's Carolina.
You know, Carolina. Sorry,
Carolina. That's my girlfriend.
Okay.
She's also a Berklee
when you're playing.
What do I think of when I'm playing? Oh, I think of a lot of things. It's kind of a personal question.
I think there's one right answer you should have. Right.
That's pretty hard. I don't know if I'm thinking of anything because I'm meditating. But some things kind of gets stuck on my mind, and then I'm thinking about those things.
Let's see. It's the meditation part of it is a good point, because I know for myself when I'm stressed out, and then I go play music just around the house. It just all kind of goes away. So that's kind of work out for you too?
Yeah, totally. Well, usually, I don't know. It's such a broad spectrum. Sometimes it's kind of weird. It's a broad spectrum.
How so? What else happens?
Well, I don't know. I have to try. What? Tell me what to think of, and then I'll try. Because right now I'm not thinking of anything.
Thinking of nothing is the good part, because you can totally relax your brain.
I'm thinking of Carolina this time. Whatever
Very
I
good.
want.
Well, we have another question from Lori Schroeder. She says, "Hello, thank you for the show. I am taking my first clawhammer lesson tomorrow with Aubrey Atwater. What advice do you have for me? I am a novice player. Thank you."
Oh, great. Nice to see you, Lori. I would say, number 1, have fun. Number 2, don't judge yourself. And number 3, don't think too hard when you're playing. Let the rhythm and don't stop. Like, don't think, and if you mess up, you don't have to stop. You just keep going.
That's good advice. That stopping thing is a thing that I see with beginners a lot. They'll play and mess up and stop, and then start again and play, mess up and stop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, you got to just learn to, if you're walking, you don't just fall down. If you like to, you have to keep going. You have to keep the rhythm going.
Exactly.
We have another question from Joseph Brosk. He's asking, is that a calfskin head? If so, what are the advantages? I've heard horror stories about the durability of them from the old days.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Joseph? This is a goat skin. It actually holds up to the weather quite well. It will get a little, it will stretch with the humidity a little bit, and at times I haven't had the tool to tighten
Right.
it back, but it's usually fine. It's never gotten to the point where I can't play it. The pros about it, I think it sounds better for me on this banjo. I mean, I think it just sounds good. It might ring, it might be a little louder. This is a pretty thin one. I think it depends on which one it is, or like, a lot of factors, but I like it. I personally like it.
What do you look for in the tone of a good clawhammer banjo? And what it like, especially comparing it to like a bluegrass style banjo?
I have like 6 banjos.
What's your go-to banjo? Is this your go-to banjo that you have?
Yes, this is my go-to.
Okay. And is that, I can't tell the rim diameter. Is it 12-inch or 11-inch?
12-inch, yes.
Okay.
I like
so
this.
what do you like, kind of a deeper sort of less bright sound?
I like the plunky deep sound that the 12-inch gives you. Along with that, I also wanted some bright crispness for.
Mhm.
And so for that, I did a Dobson tone ring.
Okay.
In there. And you can see a
And
sock.
is the rim a block rim? Is it a multiply rim?
Yeah, it's block.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay. And then you are muting it with a sock in there.
yeah, and I go back and forth on my preference with that always.
If you're playing in a band like situation, you really want to be, or at a jam at a festival, do you like to take the sock out to get just more projection?
Yes, sometimes, yeah, for sure.
And then I see you have a pickup in there. What pickup do you have in there?
This is the Myers Feather pickup. Great choice, I think. It's like maybe $200, and I have a volume little thing here.
Wow.
Just got it zip tied in. It's basically like a DPA. Sounds great.
Okay. It's basically a piezo pickup that's connected.
Oh no, it's actually not a pickup. It's a mic.
Oh, it's a mic. Okay,
A little
gotcha.
mic, yeah. You can see right there.
Ah, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So pickup, I can't stand a pickup on a clawhammer.
Yeah.
Like because you put it on the bridge, and then your banjo sounds like it's suffocating to me.
Right.
So
What are some other banjos that you have that you like?
I have a neckfill electric banjo called the Meteor.
And when do you use the electric? For effects and things like that?
Yeah, for effects. I have like a loop pedal. Sometimes I do it like if I play with like drums and bass, I'll pull that out because you just can't with this. So it's good for when there's loud environments.
And do you like kind of a little bit of a higher action than, say, a bluegrass banjo? Do you find to get more projection, or
I
do
guess
you like it low?
I like probably pretty low. This is pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to show, but
Yeah.
it's pretty low. But it has the scoop, so you can see how like the neck, the fingerboard is higher up because of the
Yep.
scoop. So that makes it so that there's more space between the string and the head or the scoop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's really different about the old time and bluegrass banjo. So there's that space you can dig in. So I can still have a lot of space and low action because of that.
Right. And what height bridge are you using? Do you know?
This is just the whatever Dean Robinson made this banjo.
Mm-hmm.
His company is called Dino Craft. And this is just the type of bridge he makes.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if it has a name. Dino Craft
Yeah.
Bridge. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your band, the Wildmans. How'd that all come about? You've known them for a long time. It's how many? It's a trio.
It's a trio. There's a core, and then we like have bass players that we hire, and we don't really have a set bass player right now. The bass player we were playing with was also a Berklee student. He's back home in Canada. It's Jack Davies. Yeah, we've been playing for a long time. I met them in 2012, maybe.
Yeah.
But I had been seeing them at fiddlers conventions for a while. And when I was 17, I moved in with their family, and I helped them like renovate this little cabin on their property. And that's where I live in Virginia.
Nice.
And so now I'm 22. So it's been a while. And that's when I joined their band. I basically moved to North Carolina when I was 17 in with old time musicians. So literally like old time is like such a big part of my life because like I moved to North Carolina when I was 17 with these old time musician friends that were very generous to offer me to their space.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started hanging out with the Wildmans like every weekend and I'd be sleeping over like 3 nights. And one day I was just, we just decided like, hey, we have this, they're like this cabin. I was like, yeah, let's fix it up. And they're like, yeah, you should just like, honestly, just stay here as long as you want. Fast forward 5 years. I'm still there playing with them. And yeah, we've gone all around playing lots of gigs, lots of fun stuff.
Well, that recording, the most recent recording, just self-titled "The Wildmans." That's the most recent, correct?
That's the most recent one, yeah. But
Yeah,
however, that one's pretty old though. I mean, it's like 2019, I think we did that.
Y'all working on something else right now?
Yeah, we were gonna do one, but then plans got wished and washed as they have been for everybody. So, yeah, hopefully this summer we're gonna kind of figure out how we're gonna produce that. But we're working on one.
And you have a lot of the songs. Are all the songs original generally for these recordings? Or are you doing some traditionals as well?
We did about half and half last time.
Okay.
And probably something similar to that. And not necessarily just traditional too. I mean, we're kind of getting into a lot of different styles, and it's fun to always experiment. We're in Virginia, where we live close to Nick Falk and Dory Freeman. Nick Falk plays the drums so well. So, we can get a lot of different sounds, and Eli bought an electric bass. We have a few electric guitars, got the fiddles, the banjos.
Yeah.
It's infinite.
It sounds fantastic. It reminds me a lot of the Mammals, or is it the Dukes or the Ducks? How do you pronounce that band name? I forget.
I don't know them.
Shit. DUHKS. But it's in that in that vein of kind of old time roots, but original music and
cool.
Americana coming out.
Definitely will keep the old time rolling, and
yeah,
lucky to have grown up in that as children, and Feels pretty still. It's just like at the center.
Well, it's been great having you on the show. We're getting to the top of the hour, but I do want to bring Jamie Laddie back in, because he's monitoring the chat from
Wow, we've
various
been on for an
places.
hour. That's awesome. How many people are on now? Have we gone like this?
5? No, I tell you, I was going to say 5,000. No, somewhere in the region of about 60 to 70 consistently across the board. People
Nice.
going in and out, which is pretty
That's
cool.
1,000, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
Great.
But yeah, no, it's really good. That was fascinating to listen to. And Joseph, I want to just shout out Joseph one more time. Rusk, he made a comment there towards the end. Says, it's so reassuring to hear these great banjo players saying the same thing. I often just sit and mess around with the banjo. And he says, when I do that, I thought I was wasting my time, and apparently I'm not. And
Well,
I mean, I couldn't agree more, right? Like to kind
sometimes
of
I ask myself the same thing, but
it's just you're constantly kind of driving in kind of what you've got in your head,
yeah,
and those kind of like half hour on the couch or just kind of just noodling on nothing in particular is helping you like just kind of create what you're trying to create in a way, whether it's kind of refining a technique or whether it's trying to piece together a song. I know for me, like some of my greatest songs, no, some of the things I've enjoyed, I've come up with the most have just been as a result of just kind of sitting there and repeating it the whole time, and it's just kind of eventually come to a point where it's like, oh, that's really cool. That's where I wanted to get to. So that's really good. That was fascinating to listen to, Victor. That was great. We did, for those of you who may have seen it already, we had Victor create a little Spotify playlist for everybody. That is on the Deering Spotify. I'm going to throw the link down here in the chat right now, so you can grab that and take a listen. It's got a few of your favorite tracks, and then a handful of your own tracks that people can grab and listen to as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
A lot of stuff.
Gotta love Spotify sometimes. I'm not the biggest fan, but I appreciate this little feature. I think it's great. So
I didn't have to. Yeah, I had somebody else put my music on there, so I'm showing. But I mean, you can buy my album. You can just give me any money that you have extra. No, I'm kidding.
I think
But yeah, I got albums
reasonable
out.
ask.
I'll personally mail you one if I can find one. I actually do have them.
You have CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
CDs.
Somebody handed me a CD the other day, and it took me a minute to
I'm
remember
like,
that I had one in my car, but I don't have any.
Right, I'm like, what do I do with this?
My kids don't even know what they are. And it's like, what is that? Where's the phone? But yeah, no, that's awesome. Is there anything else that you want to like last thoughts that you want to share with us before we sign off for the evening? I know it's getting pretty late there right now.
Is there a time to play more?
We're definitely gonna have you a little outro here. But if you've got anything you want to plug, I think Spotify, right? Your tunes are up there. Maybe throw the website up there as well. That was for your band, right? For the Wildmans.
Yeah, band's touring. Keep an eye out for that. We're gonna be out in Colorado in the summer and around there on the West Coast a little bit. Play in the Northeast a lot. I teach lessons.
Do you do it in person or do you do it digital as well?
I do both. I love in person.
And how could people contact you for lessons?
You can contact me through my email. It's Victor Furtado Banjo @gmail.com.
Perfect.
I'm working on a Patreon page, which is basically going to be like lessons, just a bunch of lessons, bunch of tunes, bunch of techniques, and would definitely love to see y'all on there. You can, awesome. Find my music. You just look up my name on Google. I have lots of YouTube videos.
It's tons. Yeah.
Follow me on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can I ask one more question before we head out? I was trying to work out when you were talking about the was it the cluck technique?
Yeah, the cluck.
I've not heard of that before. Could you maybe demonstrate and break it down real quick? Because was fascinated by that.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like evolved through the through people being around chickens.
Could
Probably.
be. Well, you got
Imitation.
what's the guitar technique? It's like the chicken picking, right?
It's a
It's the-
Oh yeah.
it's,
It
yeah.
sounds like chicken, right? It's like
Yeah.
cluck. I'm gonna put the sock in for your for your own safety.
Jonathan, throw him full screen.
Let's see. Basically, I kind of put these two fingers together like that, and I'm putting a pretty straight angle, pretty parallel with the strings. And I think what happens is it slides off the fingernail and then kind of onto the skin on the side of the fingernail.
Okay.
Also, it could be sliding off onto the next fingernail, which would be sliding from the middle to the index. And then you just get this rhythmic thing.
Got it.
Yes.
So okay, so now that's like what Dave was saying when he was talking about like a pinched harmonic or
The false
Yeah.
harmonic.
guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to
false harmonic. Sorry,
illustrate
false
that.
harmonic. Awesome. Well, that was great. Thank you for showing that. I wanted to get a closer look. That's cool.
Thanks.
David, any final thoughts before we invite young Victor to play us out?
Just thanks for doing this. It's been great. Hopefully we can meet in person sometime at a festival or something. But it's great to hear you play and great to kind of get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, you too. Both of you guys, all three of you guys. Jonathan
sure.
behind the scenes.
Jonathan's let's flash him up. Ready, Jonathan?
Bring
3, 2,
Jonathan in
1.
for a second.
Boom, there he is. Hey, Jonathan.
There he is.
Hello, here I am. I was hiding.
Thanks for everything you do, sir. I'm putting you away.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thanks,
Hi.
buddy.
Straight out of the green room there. Back into the green room. Save some snacks.
I know.
Don't drink
right?
all the beer.
Did you get a beer while you were in the green room? Is that right? No. We can figure that out. All right. What are you going to play for us on the way out here?
I'm gonna play a Swedish polska. Fredriksson,
Nice.
I believe. I
All
don't know.
right.
Yeah, Lars Fredriksson.
Okay.
Learned this from Natalie Haas. What am I thinking about? Anybody guess? Yes, you're right. A flowery field. Now. An evil lawnmower that cuts all the flowers.